Well, I'm fixing the lights.
Hello, now you can hear me. Of course, something had to not work. Today, it was the microphone. Yay! Welcome to 2026. It's a year full of working hardware and software, and we're all here for it.
Yeah, sure. We have AI. AI is gonna replace us all.
Dude.
Also, the settings.
Oh, Am I getting
What
lazy
should
to the point where I'm just asking the model to do a git commit for me? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
I am.
I got this from Peter Steinberger, and I have a command and it says run the gate, and it runs everything, linters and everything, and then commits and push. YOLO.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm thinking about building a skill for that for when I use Cloud Code on my personal projects. It's
So, beautiful people, welcome back.
hello.
So this thing that you are witnessing is us coming back from vacation, and we don't know anything, and we don't remember how this thing works. So
Yeah.
I'm Ivan.
Wait, isn't
That's
it like middle
Sebastian.
of February and you just came back from vacation? How long was your vacation?
Not long enough.
So today we have Tor. Welcome back, Tor.
Welcome back, Tor.
Hey,
Nice
great
to
to be
have
back.
you. So, I mean, I don't think you need to introduce yourself at this point, but just because it's a tradition, if you want to go for it.
Sure. Yeah. So so my name is Tor. It's a Norwegian name. I grew up in Norway. Historically, I led the Android developer tools team, Android Studio, but I also now lead the libraries effort. So things like Compose and Android and so on. And of course, we do a lot of AI these days. Development is really changing.
Really?
Yes.
I mean,
surprise.
And so, yeah. So that's,
go
I think,
figure. Go figure.
Yeah. But I knew, whenever I'm on a podcast, that people expect me to talk about lint. So what I thought was like, hey, let's just randomly do some lint improvements using AI. I haven't actually coded on lint for a bit. I've been really busy on the AI side, but let's just pick up some lint work and see what we can do with the tools.
Nice. Let's something easy for the machine. Let's do some linting. What? I mean, harnesses are the thing nowadays, right? I mean, you need to give the machine a feedback loop to itself to actually make it very efficient. I mean, you have to.
I mean, that's what makes AI so good at coding, is that we actually have a feedback system. So if you ask an LLM, like, is it safe? You can ask it about some kind of health question. It doesn't really have a way to validate, so it's just going to do what the weights say. Is it the right answer? For AI, you can then run it through compilation, through unit tests, and you can sort of have it, validate what it did. And I think our agent is increasingly hooking up to more and more of the static analysis we have. Things like find usages, go to declaration, and things like that. And so I think like the combination of like one of the things we have is a file critic. So every time the agent writes a file, we actually run lint and a bunch of other static analysis in the IDE before and after the file write. And then we tell the AI, hey, you just introduced 2 new warnings and 3 errors. And then the AI,
congratulations.
the AI can immediately say, oops, you're absolutely right. Let me go fix that, right? So it's one of those things where, for example, it might delete some code. And then the AI goes like, there's an unused import now. So like, oh yeah, let me fix that.
Or you hallucinated that function entirely. It doesn't exist. It would be nice if it did, but it doesn't exist.
Yes. That the modifier that you suggested, it would be nice, but it's not there.
I will say I'm seeing a lot less of that with Gemini 3 Flash. But what happens sometimes is that it doesn't hallucinate something, but it is still a compiler error because it has to add a dependency somewhere else, right? So it's one of those things where like, oh, it doesn't exist? Oh, yeah, I've got to go update the tumble file and the Gradle file to actually import this, and then it's going to resolve, right? So it's one of those things where we help it.
Yeah.
And actually, when we tell the model that these errors were introduced, we say it might not exactly be an error, because sometimes you have to do things in sequence, right? So if you want to add some sort of a cyclic dependency, there will be an error state in the middle. And so it's not always an error, but we want to alert the AI that that's happening. And that, so sorry, that was a long digression to lint checks are still important, right? And actually static analysis, because it really helps augment, what the AI sees. And also it's way more efficient. Like you could basically write a really long prompt to tell the AI to look for these errors that we have lint checks for and say, now work your way through this 100,000 line code base, 100,000 file code base. It's going to use a lot of tokens. This is
And
probably
it's gonna
not the
forget.
best.
It's gonna
Yes,
forget.
even if you had an like infinitely great AI, this is like maybe not the wisest spend of compute cycles, right? So
Yeah, and if
So
I
there's
can
good fit.
if I can add something to that, like in all the explorations I've done in the past few months, I see a step function difference between using a tool, any tool that doesn't have any static analysis setup, and using that tool with static analysis setup. So in a Kotlin project, you would have detect, you would have KTFMT, the usual. Lint, of course, if it's an Android project. But then again, on top of that, if you're using, like CLIs, that sort of stuff, they work a lot better and a lot faster if they have access to the IntelliJ index, which they don't. And that's where like the file critic is probably one of those low-key heroes that nobody knows about and nobody thinks about, but you do see a huge difference when you have access to that, because the model doesn't spend half an hour spinning around and going in circles. It's just like, oh yeah, no, that's wrong. So having that was such a great addition to the Studio Agent, and it's so good that we have it built in. Because if you look at other tools, you can emulate that. Like there are plugins that allow you to expose through MCP, but it's a lot of work and it's not as fast, and it's
I mean,
not
the key
built
thing
in.
because one of the things we didn't want to do, because you can just run lint afterwards, but then you don't know if there were warnings before. So it's really confusing to the AI that I just went and fixed this, and it's you telling me there's now like 70 warnings. Like, oh, what went wrong? Well, actually, there were 70 warnings before it started, right? So we actually the ability to run it before and after, and we can typically do the before very quickly in IDE because it's cached typically, right? By if the editor is open. It's a little harder to make it work when the file is closed first, but we made it work. So the fact that you can run it before and after is and quickly is really important. And then there's a lot of them in the IDE. It's not just Android Lint, which of course we think is very important, but it's all of the inspections for Java and Kotlin and XML and all that stuff that comes in JetBrains. So like I think there's around 3,000 inspections, right? Which is quite valuable.
Yeah, and the inspections, there are a lot of them that are very niche and very specialized, and there are just no other way to get that insight apart from getting that from the IDE, which is kind of. I mean, it's kind of obvious when you think about how much the IDE knows about your project compared to almost any command line tool could, because of the index. But if you don't think about it, it's like, oh.
It's also one of those things that even if a model is like very, very up to date, it can't know it all, because really you're writing the Android is maybe the easiest example, right? So let's say you're writing some code and you're making a library call, and that call actually has an API requirement associated with it. You don't know that unless you go look at that call either in the Lint API database or at the annotations at the binary level, which is not in the current source file. And on top of it, it also depends on what is my -k version of my app, right? Which is also found elsewhere. So it's very, I mean, yes, you could eventually have a naive agent go and like actually write a test and run an emulator and discover, oh, it crashes, and have to try all the API levels. This is very inefficient, right? So that kind of analysis is where tools is really where a lot of the superpower to an agent comes.
Many times I've seen other agents like stumble into this kind of issue, and then their reaction is, oh, let me download the AAR, unpack it, run Java CP, and try and go through the bytecode to understand what that method is annotated with and why is not working, or trying to find an API that way. It's like, oh my god, you're costing me $5 just to fix this one lint.
Yeah.
And that never happens in studio because that obviously we have that knowledge, and I think that's
And so there's a
a
lint
good
check.
saving.
The other nice thing is that we our read and write tools in the agent can of course read inside jar files because it's built on top of the virtual file system abstraction in IDE. So it's one of those like, there's a find declaration call which points straight into the jar, and then there's a read file so it can like read
Yeah.
the whole thing. So it's very token efficient for those kinds of things.
Yeah, and I think a lot of other tools, I see a lot of other agents, they tend to go for the brute force approach because they don't have those tools. And we have the unique advantage of being able to be smart about things and run things locally, which is faster and cheaper and gets better results most of the time as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is maybe a controversial take because I know it's not universally agreed upon, but like because there's this whole thing of our IDE is dead. There's this whole trend of no, you just delegate to the agents, and you have 100 agents that all kind of are working autonomously for you, and then they create a pull request.
Yeah,
and
but
then you're
that's
done.
the infinite
So
monkeys theorem.
and like I have this dumb metaphor, but I think it's true, and that is like if you were to put two programmers of equal skill next to each other, and one gets Android Studio and one gets, Notepad, and they're given a programming task, who will finish first? And I'm pretty convinced that the programmer that has the IDE with all the integration and built-in stuff will finish faster than the person who's got pure Notepad, right? And so in that world, I think if you replace those two programmers with two agents, clearly the agent that can leverage all the abstractions provided by the E, even if there's no UI, right? I think we'll still have a huge advantage because what IDEs did with having a persistent code index that's like warm with the symbol tables already, where you have the build structure and all this stuff that it can consult. Like when you look at a source file as a programmer, you can see all the semantic highlighting, right? So you can instantly tell the difference between a local variable and a field. They have different colors, right? This used to be, famous bugs in the old days, in the Emacs days, right, where you accidentally didn't realize that you're mutating the same parameters as the field you thought. We don't have like as a programmer, you just look at the file and you can see that those are the wrong things. An agent can benefit from that too, right? Having a richer view of files. And so to me, I still feel like this IDE abstraction that we built is really, really valuable for the agent, whether or not you look at the UI. And of course, I think the UI is very important too, in terms of code review. And we still find ourselves having to help the agent quite a bit, when it's working on a complex code base.
Tor, I have a question about the other side of the world from a mobile point of view. So Apple basically gave up on Xcode a couple of weeks ago, probably last week. So they released this new version that has a built-in MCP that actually lets other agents use Xcode to do the stuff that Xcode can do better, like certificates and signing and
It's
the
not
indexing.
better. They locked it to Xcode. It's slightly different.
Potato, potato, podildo, whatever. But they went in a very specific direction, right? So they didn't want to push the let's build an Xcode agent. Well, people are already using Cloud Code. Let's build something so they can use Xcode from Gemini CLI or Cursor or Cloud Code. So they basically opened up the good things of Xcode, and in a way, for me, or I mean, for a few people that we had a chat about this, they accepted that things are changing, and there was a battle that was not worth fighting, like the Siri battle, right? So they tried, okay, let's try to build our own AI, and then eventually, well, we're gonna use Gemini, fuck it. And like, well, no, Siri is Gemini beyond the curtains, and everybody was happy. I'm the happiest person ever because I like Gemini Siri is pathetic. Now I know that in the next version is going to be Gemini, so I can finally use it. And I wonder if it, I mean, what do you think about that approach? So they are focusing more on other things, like they are focusing on hardware, and it feels like they gave up on the IDE.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything about other companies.
No,
I
no,
will
no, no.
just, I will just say that
Nerd to nerd.
I will just say that I strongly, like I've been using our agent a lot lately, and I really love the tight integration. The fact that it's right there. We're adding a lot of specialized skills. I mean, before I say that, I will say that Android has already been quite available to other agents, right? Because you can build, with Gradle, you can run emulator. ADB lets you touch so you can actually agents today can actually do quite a bit of Android development,
Yeah.
right? So like what we're doing with our agent is taking advantage of all the stuff we have, and that I think maps to what you see in some of these announcements you refer to. It's like it's basic stuff like accessing the project and building and so on, and that's already possible. The question of whether we sort of invest in our own agent or just become a tool for other agents, I still feel like we have like I've been using our agent. I think it's compares very well to a lot of other agents, so I still want to pursue that direction.
But I speak from a developer point of view that does a bit of everything, because I have Android apps. Shout out to Chris in the chat, because my only Android app was designed by Chris Cinco. Thank you. Still rolling, still rocking on the Play Store. But I'm also doing a lot of Flutter nowadays because I wanted to access the iOS ecosystem, and I'm doing a lot of backend in Node and Rails. So at the moment, I'm working a lot with Cursor. And by the way, also open code that is growing on me. More on the Linux system administration side of things than coding. Thank you, Chris. So from a cursor point of view, I can do a lot of stuff, as you said, with Android. So, but it also feels like every now and then I have FOMO when I see the new announcements on Twitter of the new stuff in Android Studio, like from going from a design to a compose UI with just a click. I mean, I can dump a screenshot in Cursor and ask Gemini Pro build a composable for this, but it doesn't feel like the real thing in Android Studio. So I'm very it's a very weird situation where I would like to use Android Studio more, but I also know that I can't use Android Studio for everything that I need, because it's just Android Studio. And then you can tell me, yeah, but you can open a Rails project in IntelliJ on Android Studio or whatever. And it kind of works, right? So Sebastiano gave me a heads up a few months ago, like Flutter, you should be using probably VS Code because they're kind of
You can use
it's
Studio,
kind of
but
dying.
it's not dying.
And
It's more like it's clearly invested more into.
yeah, and and so I eventually drifted away from Android Studio from my projects, and it's a weird feeling, and that's why I constantly hope that eventually I will be able to keep Android Studio there, because it's giving me, or the agents, something that
And it sounds like what you're asking is to be able to not use it at all. Like, hey, can you please just be like a headless tool for these other tools I want to use, right? And I don't know, like I think I really want to do right by the people who are full-time users of Studio and make sure that what they have is better than anything else, right? Like that to me is a higher priority, and I feel like we're in a really good position to do that. there's a lot of cool stuff coming.
Yeah, and if I can add something, I think.
Well, before you add something, let's say, hey, you know what? The AI tools in Studio also designed by Chris Cinco. You know, like it's designed.
And not
Yeah.
just Chris, but also Chris.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is I think you have to remember that the target audience for Studio is Android developers,
Yeah, no.
not Flutter developers. There is Flutter support, but it's not maintained by the Studio team.
Yeah, no, I
So-
understand. I understand.
It's just we have
Because
to
I'm doing
we
it-
have to pick our battles. I think that's
but I thought that
ideally
I
we
totally
would
see.
support everything for everyone, but realistically that's
But in
not
the meantime,
doable.
we'll instead try to give you more FOMO.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that's for sure.
We
That's
can make
for
you
sure.
regret using Flutter.
No, that's not happening because I still
I
need
know,
to
I
support
know, I
other
know.
platforms. I mean, you know how hard of a transition was for me, like going from the F word to actually being oh, this is actually working.
Like every tool,
but-
there are use cases where it makes sense.
Yeah,
If you're
that's
in
the
one
thing.
of those use cases, why not?
It's a bit unfortunate that I was forced from a career point of view to not being locked on Android anymore. And that led to decisions
Mhm.
to be taken, like, okay, what do I do? And at the beginning I had Android Studio always open. So because there was like there was some live preview, there was also the emulator that was running nicely in Android Studio. There was a nice low cut. I for a few months I had Android Studio on the side, but eventually it faded out because I was like, yeah, I can run the build. I run the build twice, and it's okay, right? So the first time is messing up the imports, and then I run it again, and it fixed everything. So yeah, but I'm curious about the upcoming stuff.
Yeah, we should probably talk about that. But also, there is a question from Mike in the chat that is asking if there's a way to force the IT department to give access to newer models in Studio.
What was the question about
If there is a way to force, or I guess what he means is convince IT to give them access to newer models in Studio because they only have 2.5.
Yeah, I mean so I don't know if they're talking about our IT or their IT.
Their
but
IT, I guess.
yeah, I like the best experience by far is to use an API key. We put a hint about it. Like when you get the Studio window, it'll say, hey, you should use an API key. And by those models, are much better, really, than the free offering. The free offering is pretty good. We have a gradual rollout of 3.0 Flash, but API key is really the key to everything, I would say. And then you have access to all the latest stuff. Like we released 3.0 Flash the day it was available. Like we were part of the Gemini 3 preview announcement, right? So API key, gives you exactly what you want. We're working on, some other subscription stuff, but nothing to announce yet. But that's coming. The API key, that's the answer.
But I can't use my Gemini Pro subscription, right? So there is.
The answer to that is currently correct. Yes.
Okay.
But obviously we're working on that.
Hope.
Yeah. Currently is important in that phrase.
Yeah, hope. But because that's actually it's a good leverage, right? The idea that I'm already paying for the storage for Google Photos, and then I threw a few bucks in, and now I have Gemini Pro. By the way,
yeah, you buy one of these and you get a year for free, so why not?
Yeah, but I actually
no, you made a mistake.
It didn't work with Tim Cook. But the nice part was, like, I got some sort of discount for a few months and then I forced myself to actually upgrade to Gemini Pro, and that's actually migrating everybody to Gemini now, even from a chat point of view. So we are migrate as a family. as a family, we are migrating away from ChatGPT to Gemini because, well, we are paying for the thing, and it's working better on a lot of tiny things, like the images, the answers are somehow more accurate.
More
Yeah,
recent.
I think Gemini is very good, and I'm not saying that because I'm a Google employee.
Yeah.
I genuinely like it, and
Yeah.
they have very good benchmarks to prove.
I'm paying
And
for a bunch
it,
of
it's
different models right now, and I'm still mainlining Gemini as my main model.
Yeah. I am in this weird luxury position that I have free access, but it's one of those things where if you're a professional developer, it is so clearly worth the money.
Yeah.
You
you
know,
know
the yeah.
actually this is a tough topic because Sebastiano knows how painful for me was going around for conferences last year. With Sasha, we started in September going around. I had a topic, AI for devs, friend of foe. Okay, so that was the whole topic. It was not a talk; it was a conversation with the audience. It was me and it was another speaker that had a completely different experience and opinion on AI. As you can imagine, I'm like this is so cool. I'm vibe coding the shit out of the world. Finally, I can build whatever I want. On the other side, he was very much skeptical. And we went around and we asked people, are you using it? So imagine those are mostly Android conferences. And we also had this conversation with Chris on Twitter. And I was like, asking the baseline question at every talk, every conference. Are you using AI Studio? Yeah, everybody was like, yeah. Are you paying for Studio? Nobody. And are you happy? Nobody. And man, I had to count to 1,000,000 to not yell at people like, do you see the problem? Why? I mean, you pay what? 20 bucks. Let's say it's $100 or $50 per month. If it saves you what? Half a day? It's already worth it. But people are very hard.
I mean, I was for the longest time like very happy that in Android Studio we have a free tier, which had pretty good access, and it was fine for things like answering questions, which is how we really started. We initially were very worried about like people's concerns about code privacy, so we did not like the default was you had to like opt in to anything, right? And so we're like, no, it's kind of like asking, Bard, in a browser, except in the IDE, and then we do some enrichment of like code snippets and imports.
Yeah.
And for that, like things were fine. You didn't need a pro model. But for agentic use cases, it's night and day. And I think it almost hurts us now because I think if people were to experience, really Gemini 3 Flash, it's my daily driver. With Studio and all the latest stuff we have, not all of it's in Canary yet, but will be very soon. I feel like it would be almost better to just have a small free trial so you see how good it is. And you're like, well, obviously this is going to cost money because it's too expensive to be given away for free to everyone. But I think a lot of people who are pro developers would pay because that's a better experience than a subpar. And so I think a lot of people who last year was like, this doesn't work, could be right at the time because I think 2.5 was pretty good, but with 3, it's night and day.
Yeah.
Right. And so like
I
my
agree.
favorite thing is that I hardly write tests anymore, but my code is better tested than ever because that is something that I delegate to the AI. I review it all. I have it look for, hey, are there additional things I should be testing here? But especially like, especially on the agent code base, thanks to Seb, we use a lot of coroutines and flows and so on. And I did not know how to write those tests. It's really complicated with like, advance until idle and put this in a job and put that in the dispatcher. And having the agent go like, okay, you just added this production feature. now add 20 tests for it that covers all these
Yes.
aspects of asynchronicity. And I just say, and this was like this isn't like, has the model learned how to do a proper normal flow test? It is looking at all of Seb's and others, fakes and local conventions, right? It learns from the other tests and does a proper test inside that passes code review, right?
Yeah.
That to me, oh, it's
Yeah.
so liberating. And I feel like,
Totally. Oh, by the way, it wrote 15 million tests in 12 seconds. That's also something that you're like, okay, this is worth it, right?
so I feel like just not having to write, annoying tests, but also to have really good tests. One of the things that I did in a recent team meeting, because I'm trying to make more people on the team see just how useful this is, I didn't want to pick on anyone else. So I went and I asked our agent to look through the recent commits I went in the repo I hadn't touched recently. So this was, a year or two back. We have a team policy against checking a code without tests, right? Okay. So what I told the agent was, go look in this repository, find code written by me where there was no test, right? It found the CL right away. And I said, okay, now add a test for it, right?
Sneaky test.
And then it did. And so my point, and it showed like, there was like a 3-line bug fix, but then it came with, like a 30 lines of a proper test.
Yeah.
I should have written that test at the time. But we all, like this kind of happens. Like it's urgent, we got to get the fix in. And so to me, the fact that we can now really have proper test is really, really, really great.
But
so
that also closes the loop. Because the machine knows when it's done.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people there complain about, oh, this thing is not working. They never give the tool to the machine to actually check itself, right? So
there's
you need to help it, right?
Yeah, I have seen some people who are skeptical who, proudly post a screenshot of, look at that, look at the bad answer I got.
Yeah.
And when I see that, I go like, okay, you haven't learned how to prompt yet.
Yeah.
Right? Because that is one of those things where you kind of, like it isn't something where it's going to always work perfectly right. Like like it will find what it thinks is a solution to a question. But sometimes I think there's quite a bit of research, or maybe it's anecdata, I don't know, but that senior engineers are more successful with this because they will also spot where the AI maybe didn't pick an optimal task.
Oh yeah, you call it out.
I'm catching it. Like, for example, it'll sometimes, say that it has, I'm trying to think of the right example. It'll claim that it fixed something, and that there are cases where like I expected it to also have to update a test, right? And it didn't. I'm like, okay, well then clearly we don't have coverage because none of the tests were failing before, right? So there you have to kind of watch it like a hawk, but when you do, it's really, really useful.
Yeah. We have a couple of questions from the chat if you want to take those, and then we can move on to showing some new stuff.
Sure.
I think the first one is from Mike again. It was saying, in the last versions, Gemini in Studio started working better than before, but I still feel it works better in anti-gravity. Why is that? The same model, same project. Are they tuned differently? I use my API key, so it should have been the same, no?
Yes. I mean, I think that anti-gravity has a better system prompt. It's one of those things we're looking at. Like we we put one together back in April. We haven't really touched it. There were also a few tools we were missing. And there's just a bunch of stuff we're about to release that I think is really, really going to help. One of the things we have tuned our built-in code analysis tools quite a lot. So the example I gave earlier of like find usages and find declaration, those are extremely important, but we discovered the AI wasn't really using them. And it wasn't using them because in the instructions, we're kind of like requiring it to pass in a lot of context to uniquely identify, like for a go-to declaration, right? You can't just say, find this method, because it depends on from where. Like a method name could be ambiguous, right? So one of the things we've done now is to make those tools be way more flexible. So the AI can just ask for a class name, unqualified, no reference, and we'll find it. And we'll actually, if it's, we'll pass back many if we have to. And if it's a lot, we'll pass it back in a file. to not use too much context. So I think we've been tuning a lot, and so the canary that's going to go out in the next couple of weeks, I think, will just be a huge improvement. I'm very excited about it.
And next question is, how do you deal with the overload of code that you need to review, since now writing code is so much faster? Even if it's good, you use this productivity constantly, starts burning you out because you become the bottleneck as the human in the loop.
Yeah. I mean,
I have
one
a
of the
partial
things-
answer there later as well, but I want to hear what you say first.
one of the things that I've started doing is that I have, I will work with the AI and I'll review what it's doing. And then I will actually have the agent review the whole commit, and it'll often find things and I will iterate on that. And I've discovered that even when I've done and when we've done the things that it suggested, I'll do it again. And I'll repeat this 3 or 4 times, so yes, because again, I have lots of token access, right? I can do that. And so I do believe that the CLs I'm sending to a coworker is actually really high quality, where in the past I might have been like not kind of gone to that level of work. It is true that there's a higher velocity of things coming from me now. And so we are working on better code review tools, but this is what we're paid for now, right? Is to be expert and to spot things that aren't that are more complicated, to ask the bigger questions. So like, why did you choose this whole approach, right? You often see more junior developers in code reviews get really hung up on like code style differences. Like, oh, you used a let here, and I think you should do if else. Like, it's very easy to nitpick. And I think that hopefully we'll get past that, because like all of that stuff is really high quality. And so you as an engineer will think about bigger things that, like, have you thought about how this could have enhanced by using this other thing we have? What about threading? I don't see you thinking about that here. So I think that's really where it goes. And I think, one of the things I think makes code reviews from my CLs easier to review is you can really look at the tests and you can convince yourself that you don't have to necessarily be super careful on some of the implementation, because you can see that it's well tested. You can see that the corner cases are there. Okay, Seb, go ahead.
Yeah, so I will say on the code producer side, I also do kind of like what Tor does, and I find it particularly useful to cross models. So you use one model to write, another to review, or multiple models to review, because they all spot different things. They all bias towards different things. So say, for example, I use Gemini 3 Flash to write the code, and then I do a pass with, I don't know, with Opus, or I do a pass with GPT 5.2, or I do a pass with 3 Pro, or I do a pass with all of them when it's a big a big change that I want to be sure it makes sense. There are a lot of things that Chris and I have been talking about in the past few weeks that we will look into. Personally, I believe right now, more and more we're moving to the point where the review, the code review, is the bottleneck. We have a lot of ideas. I don't know which ones are going to work out and which ones are not going to work out. So I'm not going to mention anything publicly yet. But
The YOLO.
I
the
have
YOLO
done a lot
solutions,
of thinking about this, and I think I have some ways to make it less painful for people to review the code.
One other thing that I think has been helpful is, a while back I added an agents.md file where I told it more things to look for in code reviews. Like, hey, look for missing test cases, focus on finding bugs. That's the most important thing. Like, you can imagine a handful of directions so I can just say, review this commit, and then I don't have to be more specific than that. Obviously, we're now coming up with support for skills. And so like, you shouldn't have to, .md, the agent.md is a little bit dated now. We will have skills probably built in. That'll sort of make this work out of the box. But that is an important thing to have right now to get better, to squeeze more quality out of your code reviews. You definitely want to be specific about what you wanted to focus on.
I think agents.md is very important for general direction to the agent, like very high level overview and processes to follow that are global to the code base. Like, it's useful to tell it, oh, always run the Gradle check task at the end of the work, always, to make sure that you haven't fucked up something, because otherwise they forget. They don't do it. So I think that's why it's still useful for. But a lot of the stuff that used to be in agents.md can be moved to skills now.
Yeah. And until the AI won't be output Kotlin anymore and it's gonna just output bytecode right away. So what are you gonna review at that point? Right? Because if you think about it, right now the machine is just producing stuff for our own pleasure because we want to read it. Right? But how long will take it's just gonna print bytecode, right? I mean, I say bytecode as in a not practically technical thing, but eventually, why not? Why not? We were discussing this in at DroidCon in September, and I was like, this today is the worst that we can have, and it's the 6-finger situation, right? That we had last year, where the images were like crappy 6 fingers. I mean, this is the worst that we will have, and a lot of people are not. I mean, I'm not even bothering anymore when I vibe code something like Sebastiano said. Like if I'm building something that I'm vibe coding it, I don't care if it's Python, Node.js, Go, or whatever. I'm not gonna read it anyway, right? So at some point we just dropped I need to use the language that I know because I'm gonna review the code. Now I'm more like I'm gonna use the tool that the machine knows better, so we are better at working with it, right? So
But I mean, are you? Again, I have these ways to think about it, which could be the wrong intuition, right? But language models are trained on human languages, and that's kind of how they're thinking, right? And so, like, couldn't there be some useful abstraction in there? Like, these programming languages are also meant for human thinking, which is also shaped by our languages, right? So I am wondering if there isn't something, if these intermediate languages isn't something that's actually helpful, even if the language model was capable of going straight to zeros and ones. There could be something token efficient, right, about expressing things in a higher level language. Like, I don't know if this is true, but it's the same thing we're thinking about for the profiler. Like, there's one school of thought is just make command line tools so it can like query the data. And part of me is like, there's something valuable in the visualization, Tufte, right? That book, or the way that machines are better at reading X-ray scans than many, many medical professionals, right? And it could just read the zeros and ones, but there's something about the 2D grid, right, that is making it see patterns that may be useful. So you could be right that maybe they'll talk in their own more native language. But I'm also thinking that they are very, very natively tied to human languages in the way they're built. So maybe
maybe the end state is not that they produce bytecode, but that they produce a specialized language that is still human readable, but it is optimized for code and for LLMs. Who knows? Maybe we should ask an LLM to build a language like that and see what comes out. Like, think of the best thing for you. What would you do?
And don't make mistakes.
Of course.
You know how to prompt, right? So you
yeah,
also
yeah.
have to
if you wanted to actually not make a mistake, don't fucking make any mistake. Then it will work. If you curse, for some reason, if you curse, it works better.
It was trained on human knowledge.
It was trained on Reddit.
we haven't spent 1 century without wars since we so this is what we do. It's okay. It was the natural evolution of things. We build the machine. The machine knows about violence and how to cope. You read you probably see the articles about Anthropic, that the model knows when he is being tested and it acts differently. So that thing is scary and it's a bit creepy, but it's also telling, right? To a degree it's a bit, but because that that's what we will do, right? So you will actually spot the fact that you're, and the machine is doing the same thing. So
I mean, I
that
certainly spoke differently with my teenage friends than with my parents back in the day, right? I was definitely cooler.
Are we
with my
all
friends.
the parents collectively?
But I mean, languages evolve over time. When you try to read like Shakespeare in English, it doesn't seem modern at all. And so I do wonder, since things are going faster and faster, like this whole thing of LLMs affecting language, yeah, they could evolve their language very rapidly to something that is, more efficient. Or maybe it just sounds cooler to the AI. They got their own slang.
So we have about half an hour left. Should we show some stuff, Tor?
yes, please.
Sure. Yeah.
What do you want to show? Do you want to give any? I mean, you've already dropped the skills bomb, so might as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So can you? Let me see.
I'm waiting for you to switch to the IDE. Okay, and now
Yeah. So here's just this is a lint skill. Can you see what I'm seeing?
Yeah, if you can do IDE zoom and put it to like 150, that will help probably people.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
Can you see this?
Markdown rendering.
Fine. That's better.
Yeah.
See?
All right. So I'm just kind of showing like this is a skill for writing lint checks, right? And this was basically analyzed from source code and some documentation and so on. So this skill,
Wait, sorry. This is a skill to write lint
checks.
Finally, I'm gonna write the lint check. Finally, took me 15 years. Thank you, Tor. I really appreciate this.
You know,
okay.
Talking about skills, I've noticed yesterday the IntelliJ community repository has a ton of skills explaining how the internals work, how to write tests. It's nice.
Were they actually written as skills, or this is just documentation?
Yeah. They're like in the .clod folder.
Yeah, I mean, when you have pretty good documentation, like this is what AI is good at, is extracting information, and then you just need a subject expert to go and review it.
Especially if you don't have good documentation, but you have the code, then that's where they become even more useful.
Yeah. So I thought, basically we could either look at some feature requests, and implement one of these lint checks.
Sure.
This one looks pretty simple.
Yeah, let's do this.
Pretty simple. Yeah, should we do that?
Let's what was the JSON one or whatever you want?
Okay, this one is basically saying that, hey, we should have the same warning that AAPT has for having
let's make someone happy.
Yeah. All right. So
please people clip this because this is historical. This is historical. I mean, we are fixing a bug live from the
and that's how we start getting people in Buganizer saying, "Oh, can you just use an agent for it? Just get an agent to fix the bug."
Ask Gemini. It's the new one fix.
Okay, so basically I'm saying, hey, can you help me implement this? And so we have planning mode similar to what you see in anti-gravity coming. I'm a little nervous about the model because I just found out today that someone used up the whole quota for our team. So like I could just start it now with Flash and have it break halfway through, and I don't know how well that's going to work with planning mode, or maybe I should just like use one of
you can use another model, or you can use it through OpenRouter.
Oh, you already have Sonnet 4.
I mean, Chris is paying. Just use OpenRouter.
Nice.
All right.
Sorry, Chris. That's Chris's key, right?
No, this is actually I actually paid. I think he gave me his key for like open code. I think, but OpenRouter I think I paid for. But I only put like $20 on it.
Yeah.
I was just testing it. So
yeah, but Flash is very cheap. It's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, with Obus it will be like one prompt.
So you can see here, it's doing research now. It's accessing the web. We can go in and see what it's actually doing behind the scenes.
Okay, so he has web access. Is fetching, or is accessing like Bugnizer in a specific way, or is just web browsing?
I basically just gave it a URL. Let's see. Can I see the details here?
Yes.
It's reading the files, existing files. Where's the step? Where's the step where it did the web call? I don't see it. Anyway, yes, it has. There's a tool for reading URLs. We have a new permission model. I've already granted it some permissions. So this is the implementation plan. Oh, the zoom is really
That
fun.
button is painful.
Yeah, it's
for
the
this thing. You have to fix it.
150% zoom that doesn't help.
You have to fix it.
Anyway, you can see. Oh yeah,
Don't
this
worry,
has a-
I'm seeing so many polish issues, and I'm sure Chris is also cringing inside.
I know. I don't know if I was supposed to show this, but yeah,
It's
playing-
fine.
yeah,
It's
like
a good thing I polished a bunch of this stuff before going on vacation.
Yeah. So we can see here, it's now working on, and this actually was a lint check that it's going to put in an existing detector, where we already have a handful of other ones. And so, hopefully now it'll work.
Implementation plan. Okay.
I think, is this the first time we show TLDR mode and planning?
Yes, this is all new stuff.
Only here.
And
Is it public? Or
now
are
it
we gonna
is.
Clip? Okay, I guess we are removing the VOD. So enjoy the live stream.
No, it's fine. If Tor shows it,
Okay.
it's fine. That's the rule of thumb.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that Anti-Gravity already has. So, like, I don't think it's a shock that we need to have something very similar to it. And this is quite useful. Yeah. So I don't think that's going to be in this week's Canary, but hopefully very, very soon. But there are a number of things we're pushing into this week's Canary that I think will be very helpful. Seeing the token usage, you can see down here, and some other things. And the permission model is also quite useful. All right, so we can see it's starting to actually change stuff. So here we can see we're starting to see the code. We now have word by word diffing, so you can kind of see the white space changes as well. Okay, let me jump to
even I hadn't seen that yet, so I mean, I was on vacation until last week. Fair enough, but I'm very happy to see that.
Yeah, so it's still working. And this is Gemini 3 Flash served from a different provider because my own API key is broken.
Well, that's the beauty of having multiple providers support, right? You can always switch.
Yes.
While that is working, I can explain a bit the LDR mode if you want.
Sure.
So what we affectionately call TLDR mode, or someone like to call executive mode. If you can scroll up a bit, maybe close the changes drawer so we can see a bit more. But the idea is that most of the time, you don't really care about what the agent is doing minute by minute. You care about what it's doing right now. And sometimes you want to go and see the details. But what we've come up with is this.
Here's the file critic. Sorry, I just got excited.
Good to point that out. So the idea behind TLDR mode is that it will, in the plan, it will have a bunch of steps. We're not showing the steps as a list, but we're showing you this is a unit of work that the agent thinks is a unit. And while it's working, we show you it's doing this right now. It has changed these files. It's kind of like somewhat similar to what some other tools have started doing in the meantime. But when we came up with this 6 months ago, it was new. But I'm happy to see that there is somewhat consensus in the sense that other tools are going in the same direction. And the idea is we want to make this as glanceable as possible, because we acknowledge the fact that a lot of people, oh, it died.
You ran out of tokens. Let me switch to mine. And also, it was like this is a studio build, so we don't actually build Studio itself with Gradle. Let me just see.
Right.
Sorry, did I say it correctly? Are you running Olama 120 billions locally? What are you running? What do you have?
No, I think that was open router.
Oh, he's right. I've got a lot of RAM.
Oh,
Boy,
you have
Gee,
more
okay.
RAM. Oh, I need a laptop refresh too.
And this was quite useful. I actually,
Oh,
did a
shit.
long international. I did a long international flight, and I was able to actually sit and use the agent, without like it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Speaking of local models, I've just published. I vibe coded in the past few days and published a plugin that only works on macOS, but it uses the Apple Intelligent local model, exposes it through an OpenAPI server, OpenAI API server, so you can plug it into Android Studio to answer your questions using the Apple Intelligence model. Why? Because it's funny to think about it.
So
it's not a very good model, but it's offline.
It's free.
And it's free. But my thinking is more like, maybe in the future we want to build some small features that don't require a large model. Maybe you want to hook up stuff like commit message generation or something like that. You don't need to go to the cloud. You can just do it locally now.
Okay. Oh yeah, look at that. It's running. But so that's a MacBook Pro with 128 gigabytes of RAM?
Yes.
Jesus.
These days that costs as much as a car.
That will put you like probably set you like I don't know, like a half a Tesla back. Oh boy. No, actually, I checked that there was a video the other day with a wedding in a Turkish wedding where the best man gifted an Nvidia 5090 to the to the couple and RAM. It was like people were laughing, and then I ran the number. I was like, that's like 6,000 euros of stuff. So that's not a joke.
And
anyway.
I guess the wife was like, what the fuck is that?
But she was just laughing for the thing, but it was like, that's a serious gift. I mean, you should be appreciated. You don't understand the situation. Okay, a lot of red.
Yeah, you can. What we see here is that it was the new code was having some kind of a regex issue. So like it's now investigating, and hopefully it'll adjust the code and fix it.
Oh,
yeah, looks like so it's
and
it looks like it now broke something. So anyway, it'll think for a bit here.
I mean, there are a lot of past tests, so
yeah. I mean, it's better than it was.
That's good.
So
yeah, I mean, it's quite like we introduced a new check here, and we introduced an existing detector. So there's probably some existing test cases that are now also flagging this issue, right? So it is not unexpected that we will have to adjust additional tests. In fact, we can go look at one of these, right? So test triple, that's one of the old tests. We can see that, yeah, it's now flagging 2 new things, right? Which is actually legit, it looks like. We have 2 non-positional strings here. So this just means that we have to, now that we're flagging more things, we have to update existing test cases.
So basically the linter is working.
It's working, and
it's flagging existing tests.
That's right. That had this as well. Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, because those tests are checking the number of lint warnings that you get, and now you've added a new rule that is also flagging that. So
that's right.
Nice.
Yeah, this looks like it's working. So we can already start seeing like, hey, what did you do, and is this the right fix? It looks. This is not exactly the world's most complicated lint check, but this looks reasonable. Yeah.
I mean, if this makes someone happy, why not?
Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and in a let's build a PR point of view situation. So you basically now you commit this. Let's say you accept this, you like it, you commit it, and then you run another agent to check the commit. It's like a review run.
I don't typically run, another agent. I'm pretty monogamous with the studio agent.
Another session. I mean,
Another
just
model?
picking up the context.
Gemini 3 Flash is my daily driver, and so typically I will now, after like having it be done, I'll start a new thread and say, hey, review this current commit. What do you see? And every now and then it'll kind of work a little deeper. And
I think
suggest
the most important thing if you do that is that you start a new conversation, because you need to clear the context. Otherwise, it gets super biased by all the reasoning that happened.
Yeah. So the plus button here is basically what lets me go look at, create a new conversation.
New chat there.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it?
Nice.
Oh, it's running the test.
It's running test.
Oh,
and
I
actually,
see.
Creating ant, because again, this is a studio build and we have a little ant hook in the beginning which runs some other static stuff, which is
running the artifacts.
Finally back to
the very, very long running artifacts task.
it made it's working on the tests. What did it do here? Yeah,
Java. Okay.
I don't know what it did.
It's probably just missing.
Actually, what it decided to do, this is clever. Instead of updating the expected test case, it's trying to limit that other test to not include the new test we added.
Oh, that's smart.
So it knows about the CL, and it corrected itself with the test DSL.
Nice.
Run. Yeah, so it's working
job.
its way through.
Yeah, that is the kind of thing that as a human, you would be like, oh, I can't be bothered. I'll just change the number. Or at least I won't do that most of the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's the powerful thing about having AI as an assistant, is that you can delegate the boring shit that you would never want to do, but that it does help in the long run, making it an overall better code base.
Yeah. And of course, what I do is I have two versions of Studio running, right? So I can actually have two conversations at the same time. And I run one in light theme and one in dark theme, so that I don't confuse myself about, which job I'm working on.
Nice.
I
like the color coding.
I use because working on Studio, working on the IDE, I use one in dark theme and one in light theme, but one is the host and the other is the guest. So one is the IDE I'm developing in, and the other one is the IDE I'm developing on. And so that's that's how I distinguish them, because otherwise they look the same. It's really hard to tell.
It's a very niche problem, Sebastian.
I know.
I have to say that it's a very niche
I know,
problem.
but I was saying theming is useful.
I think everyone who works on IDEs, I did that with the Solaris debugger back in the 90s.
It's like, make this all look red. And this is the debug one.
It seems to be very inefficiently cleaning up its run calls here. Like I can, I'm just going to do it for it here. I just don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Saving tokens.
I mean, tokens, sure, but it's more like a waste of time.
This was kind of dumb, but and I probably could have just typed, hey, please do this for me. But again, I'm having some issues with my API quota. Okay, let's just run the test. I'm curious now. Let's see how we're doing.
I mean, if it works. Let's see.
Okay. So I'll say, okay, almost there.
Progress.
Keep going.
Supporting comments.
Yeah.
Supporting prompts.
I love when the agent stops and asks you for something, and you're like, sure, go for it.
Yeah. I guess I'm not the only one who's polite to the agent.
I'm encouraging.
Please do. Please do. Please do is my.
If it's trained on human communication, it's probably going to learn that a nice answer is going to get you further, right?
Yeah, it only gets
or threatening.
it only gets yelled at when it goes in loops for too long and it's wasting my time. Or when it asks me the same question twice.
There we go.
Awesome.
This is, again, I'm using sort of, our team thing, and someone must have run some big evals or something. So, okay. Try again. Now we're going to...
With haiku. Oh, wow. You like to live dangerously.
Isn't that
Um,
cheaper? I'm trying to preserve my.
Yeah,
Again, I didn't.
that is the
I was
cheapest, but it's like,
bring your own model, which we have in studio, and so I sort of bought subscriptions, to a bunch of them.
yeah,
With
Haiku
my
is like flashlight, so
yeah,
a bit
we'll see.
fast, cheap, but
can
risky.
you
But then, yeah,
can
you think that Sonnet is as expensive as 3 Pro is like, yikes.
Oh boy.
I actually didn't check the pricing for the.
Oh, you got
for
rate
Sonnet.
limited.
All
Yeah,
right,
you are hitting all the rate limit.
That's
He's gonna
the
switch at some point. He's gonna switch to the local one. Yeah, the
oh
100 billion one.
Oh, there's a bug there. That's a bug in our code.
yeah, we have a couple of
I
those.
used to really. This is this is actually an internal build, which is really. I was trying before we started today to switch, because what I'm running here is actually an internal build of Studio meant for
Chris is
mobile
suggesting
development.
Kimi.
So,
to use Kimi
Kimi is incredible. It's very nice and very cheap.
from Open Router. You can serve it from there. I
I don't know
haven't
if you
used it
have.
yet, but
Do you have open code? Because it's free on open code today.
well, that's the one that was Chris's key, and I don't know, like this was.
Well, I mean,
Is this
yeah, that one.
all right?
It's very cheap. Don't worry.
but it's actually also effective. I'm using it for the open claw situation as a secondary model, and it works. Question about the agent here. So, does it know? Does it know that the tests are failing? So
Yes.
is he aware? Can you tell it just go through until everything is green?
Yeah, I mean that is what it does on its own.
If you don't hit the quota, I mean.
It keeps looping. Yeah, that's the problem. We have a code issue. So this is running an internal tool JPS build. It's basically for running, on top of this weird mishmash of a build system we have for developing Studio internally. But you can see the test failures here, right? It gets the output of this tool call, and then that's what I normally see. That it'll sit, it'll iterate a few times until it figures out the root problem, then it'll fix it.
And that output is incredibly verbose, which is why it's running out of quota very quickly.
Yeah. Because again, this is an internal tool I built, and so I did not put a lot of effort into it, but I probably should.
Yeah. But the funny thing,
this is not bundled with Studio. This is only an internal build. Right?
Yeah, the funny thing is that in that output you see the magic strings for Team City, which is the JetBrains build system. Well, it's not build system. It's the Team City CI that JetBrains uses. So the infrastructure comes from the IntelliJ platform, and then we also use it for Studio. There's a lot of stuff in there.
Yes. Well, this is quite slow. Now I am at 170K tokens, right? So probably because of all those tests. So, maybe we should get going. I guess it's working.
It's gonna token all the tokens.
I'm gonna just manually compress the context window here.
That was quick.
I mean,
well, let's work on it. It's doing the compression. So now it's taking the 170. Okay, we're down to. Okay, it looks like it already had done it because it's already down to 33K tokens. It must have hit that token window size. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because it's only has a token limit of 256, so it was already over the compression threshold. So it was doing it until when I do explicit compress, it's going to go down way more.
Yeah, when you get used to using the Gemini models with the huge context window, you're like, I never used compression before. Now I need it because I'm using like 200,000 token context windows. That fills up very quick.
Yeah. No, I often see that on larger tasks. It's it's up to 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 tokens.
From token optimization point of view, is there a way to reduce the verbosity of the output that it gets in the thinking, like behind the scene? So the tools that is calling, would it make sense to have
So you mean
like a
like
less verbose?
the thought level?
Yeah, I mean, he's calling, definitely it's calling some tools, right? So
I don't think the thoughts are the problem. You know, like one of the things you might have seen in the output earlier, it's like instead of reading whole files, it calls read outline, which just reads, you know, high level structure of the file and so on. And so we have some new tools, like find usages now, for example, instead of sort of returning all. Okay, here we go. Right, keep going, make the tests pass. What was I saying?
the tool for reading the
Find
files.
usages, yes. So like find usages now will only return, you know, I want to say up to like 10 or 20 results, but it'll pass a pointer to the rest of the results, you know, which the AI can then read, and it can now also run. It can also read portions of files. So you'll see some of the read file tool calls early on in the history here. We could see that it was reading spans of lines. So it can do its own pagination basically, you know,
And it's using basically Android Studio internal tooling for the stuff, or it's just stuff that you are building on the side.
These are tools built in our agent. So you can see here, for example, right, that like it just read an outline. This is a large file, right? But it only read the outline. And the outline contains things like line ranges. So then it goes like, okay, I'm interested in this part. You can see that the read file tool now only read this range of lines. So like, so this is new, and this is going to be way more token efficient than what we had before. We would have to sort of read whole files.
That's one of the things that we can do because we have the index. Because if we didn't have the index, we couldn't do it. And in fact, nobody else is doing it because nobody else has the index. I mean,
yeah,
IntelliJ has, but I don't know if they're doing that.
They're grepping most of the time.
Yeah, but it's inefficient.
Oh, well, and especially it's not working for the find the usages stuff.
Yeah,
that will never work if you don't have the kind of support that Android Studio has.
Oh, it looks like it might have managed to do some
trying
stuff.
to run some shell stuff. I don't know why it was doing that, but anyway, now
it's trying to take over your laptop.
I know, it was looking for tokens. It was looking for API keys.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about because it's been less than 24 hours since the last time we talked about shell command store. So maybe while we wait.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big things coming, I hope, this week is, you know, shell commands, you know, which makes the AI way more powerful.
So as in being able to call shell commands?
Yes.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, I mean, this was a very sad example because it called it without the wrong parameters. Normally we would see a terminal emulator here, right, and it running, but that wasn't, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
what
these are lower traffic models, so we might not have optimized prompts for these. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But with Gemini works very well, and with Anthropic and GPT as well, I've seen it work quite well. Yeah, and as Chris is saying, models really are trained to use the shell a lot. So for some things, unfortunately, that means that they sometimes ignore the built-in tools that would get them a better result. But in most agents out there, it doesn't matter because they don't really have any tools.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot of tools.
The system prompt could help with that.
Yeah, right? And there's a lot of fine-tuning that we need to do.
Yeah, you can tell the model, don't use grep, use this function that is gonna do the same, but it's faster, maybe.
Yeah. A lot of that is about the tool description. Yeah, there were probably some issues with the model, but yeah, even the default model is fine.
What kind of tool you expect the model will call, for instance, for Android? Because I mean, I don't expect it's going to call ADB or Gradle, right?
Ideally, it shouldn't. But
what are the experiments, if you can say, for the model? I mean, usually what do you expect? So you are adding shell commands because there was need, I guess. So what are the tools that you expect the model is gonna call on the system while doing Android, for instance?
I mean, one of the things that it can do, it can call, ADB, right? So we have a handful of built-in tools for specific things like deploying and grabbing screenshots and interacting, right? But if you say something like, "Hey, can you delete the user settings?" or something unexpected like that, it'll happily call ADB. You know,
Okay, fair enough.
yeah. It just turns out that in
Because there is
practice,
nothing in Android Studio that does that.
we have not yet hooked up every single thing that Android Studio can do to the agent because there is this whole fatigue that models have when they're given too many tools. We don't want to sort of fill up the context window with tool descriptions. So we're working on something there that I'm not going to talk about yet. But Shell is just one of those things that all the models really, that it's clearly part of their training, so they can really do a lot with it.
I build
Yeah, Chris's
I
example
build
is using Git, which is a good
yes,
one.
but for Android, I'm also using a lot of the Google Cloud command line interface,
Mhm.
the Firebase command line interface.
Even the Flutter command line tools.
Yeah, I mean, not specifically on the Flutter side, but on the Android project, it's using a lot. I mean, it tries to look for Firebase on the command line, but then I steer it on the MCP because Firebase also has a nice MCP.
Mm-hmm.
But for things like AdMob, they don't have an MCP, and yeah, and it goes and does things on the shell, like curl. It gets the authentication token from the Google Cloud command line interface, and then uses the token to do a network call for the AVI to AdMob. So it gets very very interesting because it gathers the information that it needs and does the job.
In the meantime, here I switched back to Gemini 3 Flash. My key is working again. Up and down, but I'm so much more happy. You can see this is what I'm used to. Like
Yeah,
Faster.
constant.
Yeah.
It's now cruising through.
it's
passing these
fast and
tests.
it's very competent.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really a big fan of this model. So
Plus, the context window is huge.
Yeah.
yeah,
Look at that 1 million, baby.
Yeah, you're like, whatever.
Sure. So I kinda I don't know if I agree with Chris, because the Firebase MCP is very nice. In my experience, I use it for Crashlytics most of the time, and I think it's very effective. Yes, MCPs are a bit controversial. Probably they won't last much because, well, if you have a CLI and you have an API, you basically have an MCP. But yeah, I mean, they work. They work.
Down to one failing.
That's the last one.
Yeah, and good, because I have a hard stop in 4 minutes. So, but it would be nice if it would be nice if we could finish this task here. We took a big detour because of all these quota issues.
Oh yeah, I mean, yes,
You're normally very, very happy with it.
Scripts all the things.
Yeah. No, it's clearly changing a lot. The kind of capabilities of these systems, and sort of I think it's pretty fun to sit there and sort of like this was a pretty easy task. So I'm sure the fix looked right to me at first go, but often, when it's something much more complicated, it's kind of fun to try one thing and realize, no, actually, it would be better in this other way. Let's try that, right? So, I'm really enjoying it.
But even if it's an easy task, it would be tedious.
Yeah,
because
updating all these stuff, I would have done manually in the old days of back all the way back to 2025.
But now you can do it while you go for coffee, right? You just fire the thing, you get a coffee, you come back. It's like 20 minutes later.
am I the only one who feels like, oh, I got a meeting in a few minutes. Let me make sure I get this one task started first.
I do the
Right?
same.
So
Or like,
It's
oh,
just running there.
I have to do some code reviews. Let me start the agent on something in the meantime.
Yep.
yeah, exactly.
It works. It works. But that's the beauty of, you said it before. Senior developers are
It's
woohoo,
green. We made it. Woohoo!
made it on time. It's
Right.
incredible.
So what I normally do now, I'll just queue it. It's like, write a nice commit message for this.
And ship it.
I think queuing works.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I'm just like, does it work
Yeah,
in planning
press.
mode too? Yeah. Okay, it's gone. So so now, this is usually pretty fast. Oh, it's in planning mode. I should have exited that.
It should be fine. It shouldn't.
Draft the
Yeah,
commit
normally
message.
it just takes a few seconds. I just hope it's not going to like update the plan and stuff for it.
No, it should be fine.
It has 1 minute to wrap this up.
In the meantime, we can start doing the outros.
No,
Oh
no.
no! Use
So
the
close.
use the commit message generator.
Yeah, but I found that this works way better.
I know it's
like
a
when I
larger model, but still,
and here's a nice commit message. So like I
Boom.
just copy this.
it's Java.
One of the tests are still in. That's an old.
No. It thinks the commit message is Java. That was what was funny.
Oh, I see.
The-
Oh,
The
yes.
code.
Exactly. Cool. All right. So I think, that's it basically.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tor. Thank you, Tor. This was great and finished in the nick of time.
Ship it.
Yes.
Ship it.
Cool.
Thank
All right,
you.
thanks. See ya.
Thank you very
Bye.
much, Tor.
Oh.
Oh, he has to go.
Well, he had a hard stop. I mean, he
Very
said
hard stop.
It's So, Sebastiano, it was nice to be back with more AI. AI, I guess, is coming more and more and more. And we need more tokens. So, Chris, if you want to join us on the next episode and bring a key, an API key that works, you are more than welcome.
We have actually the next stream is in 2 weeks, and we have Rahul, because Rahul,
let me
fan
guess.
favorite Rahul, he's actually going to talk about something new that he's worked on with someone else in the past few months that I am incredibly excited about. So
Okay.
there's
no spoilers.
There's gonna be the title card in the outro,
okay.
but there is some very new, very fancy, very useful tracing stuff for performance that they've been working on, and I am personally excited about it because, well, I'm not gonna say why. He's gonna explain it. You have to be here in 2 weeks. Fuck off. Nice try. You almost got me.
I just.
I mean, you're gonna be here. It's fine. I was talking about Mike. Mike, you specifically.
the hype. We just built a bit of a hype.
That's fine.
So yeah, thank you everybody for being with us. Again, we are a bit we are spotting episodes in the last few months, but we are gonna try to be more consistent this year. Hopefully we will have more stuff and more guests.
Last part of 2025 was a mess because I was away, then you were away, then that was there is an amount of that is going to happen because it's unavoidable. But the hope is that by moving to a every other week cadence, we can dodge most of that.
Yeah, that's the hope. So the idea will be to have stuff before I/O, even if it's hard because we know how secretive everything is before I/O.
Yeah. I mean, we have until I think we have a month of stuff planned.
Yeah. So yeah, we will be here in a couple of weeks. If you want to support us, you can subscribe to our Twitch channel. You can subscribe for free if you have an Amazon Prime subscription. So look it up. We have a link in the description. And yeah, thank you. Type a bingo card. We will have a bingo card for IO. I mean, probably it's gonna be something that makes you cry as usual. Yeah, we will see. Let's work on that as well, Sebastiano. It's a new project for Google I/O.
Maybe we can vibe design it or something.
Yeah, I mean, we can do some web or Flutter web.
I mean, sure, but if you're doing web, I really don't see the point of doing Flutter web.
No, I mean, just because Flutter, because you can do an Android app for tablet. We can have it, Roberto. Ah, by the way, you know,
doing Flutter?
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Why not? Why not?
You can try. You can try.
Yeah, I can definitely try. But you know, I was actually messaging him the other day because I'm using the Termius. I don't know if you're Termius is SSHD client for Android and for mobile. In
Never
general.
used that.
Okay. Because now I'm doing a lot of system stuff and I'm using my phone to actually connect to backend and servers, and everything is very cramped and thing. And I was like, shit, I would love a foldable. And I was like, oh my god, I finally found the use case.
Wait, you want a foldable with a mechanical keyboard attached to it?
No.
Wait. Do you need one of these by any chance?
No. No. But I was like, I mean, I'm using the phone. I was like, man, I can't see shit. It would be nice if we would be a bit.
We're getting old, man. We're getting old.
I was like,
that's a use case for foldables.
That's a use case for foldable. I mean, system administration is the ultimate use case for foldable. I mean, and I was like, why?
Think about this. Like remote agents, it's fucking painful on this.
Hey, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing open code on the phone. It's so tiny. Francesca's like, how can you read that? I was like, there is no other way around. I mean, the keyboard is taking half of the screen. And so Sebastiano, so we have a use case. Roberto can come.
Getting old is a use case.
we can vibe code shit on the foldable. You know, I mean, we can.
Oh god.
Yeah. Why not? We can run open code on.
But we need to tell him he can only come if he has the Samsung trifold thing.
Oh yeah, the trifold. What the? Fuck?
I don't think he has it.
Nobody has it. The thing is like 3,000 euros.
Well, I mean, he can go to Korea or something. South Korea. Yeah. Important.
South Korea. Yeah. I mean, it's
don't take the wrong flight.
Yeah. I mean, we can get. I mean, we need to get Roberto, just for the lols. That's it.
Just to see him yelling at the LLM when it doesn't do adaptive right.
Yeah, but we don't tell him anything, right? We just invite him and let's talk about large screens and foldable, and then we drop the F-bomb.
I mean, he doesn't watch the stream, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
he will never. Don't tell him. Don't fucking tell him.
I mean, we're gonna go. Oh yeah, we are doing this with Flutter. I mean, let's thank you for today's sponsor, Flutter Dev. I was like, wait, what?
Oh man, that would be the time. It's just like you see the SWAT team kicking the door in,
doxing us, like, you know. Anyway, beautiful people, enjoy the rest of your evening.
It's been a good start to an otherwise weird fucking year. Yet another one of those.
We need more tokens.
Yeah, more tokens. I think the next time we get someone that needs to do AI, we need to tell them, make sure you have tokens.
Bring your own
Bring
tokens,
your own
man.
tokens.
This is not a charity.
Or maybe we need to get like more people subscribing and we pay for the tokens.
That also, oh yeah, or we get a sponsor.
No, I don't want sponsors. It comes with, there's always strings attached, and I don't want to be peddling a VPN that you don't actually need, or an eSIM that doesn't work in the countries that it says it works in.
Okay,
I'm talking about products from one company specifically.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Fuck that.
We can use Tudor's money to actually buy a cloud code. Like a Gemini API. This stream, this vibe coded episode has been.
I need to send an email to Sundar and ask him if he wants to sponsor tokens.
Yeah, And then
What's Sundar's email? Sundar at Google? I don't know.
I guess. I mean, we can check. I'm pretty sure it's Sundar. I mean, if
I would
I don't
not
know
be
if it's
surprised, but
it's
who
gonna
knows?
probably reply either with Gemini telling you to fuck off. It's like, this is your token.
Or with a contract termination.
Yeah, or it's gonna be just a box on the
You have been
front door.
fired.
Yeah, like a cardboard door box on your front door. And I was like, this fill it in, but I work from home. Fill it in and send it back.
But it's all my stuff.
It's the laptop.
Send
the
it
laptop.
back with the tokens.
Man, about the laptop, that was a fucking heavy MacBook Pro. When I saw the model, I was like, wait, what, 120 billion? How, what? And I actually didn't think about the MacBook. I thought you had like a Mac Pro, you know, the
Dude, they're making those very beefy these days.
Jesus, I mean, 128 gigabytes. That's a
The funny thing is that they're approaching the power that we have for the cloud tops that we use for like heavy engineering. It's insane. It's like it fits in this. It's the same size as this.
Yeah. The new M5. I'm very curious about the M5.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping that when that comes out, my laptop refresh comes in, so I can get it. With all the RAM, all the RAM.
All the RAM. I mean, it's a kind of not super fast RAM, but it's a lot. So that works. That works. Anyway,
folks, been
enjoy
a pleasure. Nice
evening.
seeing you again. And yeah, see you in 2 weeks. Have a good one. See you on Telegram. Let's shoot the shit as usual.
Ciao, ciao.